Oh.
That's right. I see you. Good afternoon and happy Winning Workplace Wednesday, beautiful people. We are here with your hostess with the mostest. I am Tashana, aka Tish Hodge, founder and chief executive at the Shine Institute. Today, I have a very special guest that I'm bringing to you, and his name is Mr. Ryan Daniel. He is the CEO of St. Cloud Metrobus. This young man is not yet 45, and he has just received a huge award from his, and I believe it's the capital of his state, as one of the most admired CEOs in the Minneapolis St. Paul area. Please join me in welcoming Ryan Daniel.
Thank you, Ms. Hodge. It's an honor to be here.
Of course. Can you please introduce yourself? That was my introduction, but can you please introduce yourself to our listening audience?
You did it so perfectly. Wow, you took the words right out my mouth.
Really? Let's hear you introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Daniel. I'm the CEO of St. Cloud Metrobus, located here in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Nice to meet you virtually.
Yes. Ryan, I have so many questions for you. We're going to try to keep it to 30 minutes here. So I have my time going. I know what time I need to be done. So can you start? Where are you from, Ryan? Are you Black American? Are you Black Caribbean? Are you from the Black diaspora around the world? Do you have Brazilian in your background? Where are you from? Africa? What's your background?
My family comes from the beautiful island of Barbados, and I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. So I spent the majority of my life navigating the streets of Brooklyn, but my family hails from the beautiful island of Barbados.
I see. Are there a couple celebrities from that island?
The one that everybody loves, Rihanna, famous singer Rihanna.
Yeah, I see. I think
From St. Michael, Barbados.
I think she is a billionaire, isn't she?
Yep,
That
sure is.
phenomenal. And she's so young. I love it.
And she gives back to the island every way she can. She's always passionate about her home, her roots, her culture, and she's always giving back to the island.
That's
Always.
amazing.
That's amazing. Definitely.
Ryan, you were awarded last week, Wednesday, as one of the most admired CEO in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. What can you please? Oh my gosh, this is a loaded question. Let me see if I can cut it up into chunks. Can you please share what that experience was like? I think you were the only Black that received that award.
It's an honor to be on the stage, to be recognized by not only your peers, by your colleagues. It was so humbling to be in front of over 500 people to share my story.
Yes.
To talk about the good things that we're able to do as leaders. Because I was there with 10 other folks who were all passionate about doing something for the community in their unique organizations. We had people from the banking industry, we had people from the planning industry, myself from transportation, we had construction industry, nonprofits. We're all passionate about community engagement. And we're all passionate about leading the next group of professionals. And it was so humbling to be recognized by the state. As I'm up to this day, I'm just like in tears, because it was just so humbling and just so like, wow, like a kid in a candy store. Who would have ever thought that I would be recognized by colleagues and business professionals such as yourself? It was just amazing. And I'm truly grateful and honorable to receive that award.
Yes. That So my brain instantly thinks of under 45 CEO. Let's strip back the layers and tell us a little bit about your high school days and what you were thinking about doing in your senior year. How did you know you wanted to be a CEO of Metrobus?
Well, during my senior year of high school, it was kind of a little. I was all over the place. Typical high school teenager, Brooklyn. You think about late 1990s, Brooklyn, New York, just the city that never sleeps. And here I am graduating high school. You have all the college counselors coming to college on career day, and you have all these different recruiters. Oh, come to my college, come to my college.
Mhm.
It was just exciting, but I didn't know that I wanted to be a CEO only until I actually stepped foot into the transportation arena. I remember in high school, my social studies teacher at the time, he told a group of us that was happened to be stay back after the bell rang, and we were just having the conversation. He said, "You know what, guys? You guys are graduating soon. If I were you, take every civil service test you could take in New York City."
Mhm.
I'm like, civil service test. Why should I take a civil service test? I'm just going to go to college, get my degree, and I'm just going to just work my business mind and work that trajectory in the business corporate America.
Mhm.
But then, I thought about it some more. I'm looking at all my friends outside of high school. They have these city jobs, they have these transit jobs, and New York City, Brooklyn rather, is a Caribbean melting pot.
Mhm.
So you have people from all cultures living in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And then the word on the street at the time was, oh, you got to get a transit job. You got to get a transit job, get a good
Mhm.
pension, good benefits, good money. I was like, oh, wow, good benefits, good money. I don't have to buy a uniform. I don't have to buy a uniform. I don't have to buy clothes for work. I could just show up, just show up, and you go work as much as you want. I said, really? So here I am, 18 years old. I'm like, oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about. But the more you hear it, it's like, oh my gosh, this is too good to be true.
Mhm.
So I went ahead and took the test right at the end of high school, my senior year. I
Mhm.
took the test. 10,000 people took the same test.
Mhm.
And you had to have a 70 or higher to pass.
Mhm.
My score was 70.69.
Wow.
And my list number was still 4,212.
Wow.
And I didn't study for the test. I was like, this is driving a bus. I don't need to study for this. I mean, I could pass a test. So this is a piece of cake. It's New York City. I mean, what can they throw my way that I don't know about Brooklyn? But
Mhm.
sure enough, I took it for granted, but I still passed.
That's great.
70.69. And I was so intrigued at that point. I said, you know what? I'm going to take it a step further. I want to do an internship.
Mhm.
Let me try to get my foot in the door in New York City Transit. Let me work in human resources. Let me see what goes on behind the scenes here at Transit. So that way, when they get up to my list number, at least I have an idea of what to expect. Because I thought they might take 5 years to call me, it might take 10 years to call me.
Mhm.
But when I took that internship, I was fortunate enough to work in human resources in the same civil service department. And
Mhm.
the bus operator field, I was in that area. And at the time, to get 1,000 operators hired for one calendar year, they had to literally go through 10,000 people.
Why so many?
I was blown away because people have different, when you get caught up to the list, when your list number gets called,
Mhm.
people have other jobs, they have DUIs, they don't pass the background check, they
Mhm.
have all kinds of different, some people just don't answer the phone when you call. So you have to go through the list because each month they're trying to hire at least 100 people, literally 100 people, 80 to 100 people every month.
Wow.
Because think about it, at the time, now it's more, you have approximately 15 to 20,000 bus operators in
Wow.
New York City. And you have people retiring, people get fired, people get terminated. So you just think about that 1,000. It seems a lot, but
Mhm.
in the terms of 15 to 20,000 operators, 1,000 operators is peanuts.
I see. I see. So You take the test, you took it for granted because you're super smart, and you passed by the score of your chinny chin chin. You
Exactly.
get this number called back of 4,000 plus, do an internship. After the internship, then what? You become
So,
CEO?
well, after the internship, they called me on my list. They were up to my list number. I was in the same department, so I knew everybody. So I went through the training, and no, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I knew I wasn't going to fail the background check.
Mhm.
And so I passed the background test, passed the check and everything, and I was hired. Went through the training program. And in New York City, you have to learn how to drive a bus in 7 days. So here I am, 19, 20 years old, never drove anything bigger than a U-Haul truck, and I got to be able to navigate a bus in New York City in 7 days with this stranger who's my instructor who I never saw before. So my fate lies in this instructor's hands. 7 days. And I did it. I passed. I went to a garage in Brooklyn because that's where I'm from. That's what I know.
Mhm.
And I stayed. And then I decided, well, my parents decided, hey, if you're going to drive this bus, you better go on to college and get your education because you're not going to get comfortable behind the wheel of this bus.
I like that decision. I
I said,
do. I do.
okay. So I drove the bus, did my 2 year degree, received my associates, did my 4 year, received my bachelor's, did my master's, and then I did the other year and completed my master's all while driving the bus. And
Wow.
I should have went for my PhD. So that's the one regret I have. And my dad, up to this day, still beats it in my head. You should go get your PhD. You should go get your PhD. And I should have completed it back in 2004. I mean, I still have the opportunity. So I'm not even going to say when I had the opportunity because I still have the opportunity. But
Mhm.
just, for discussion purposes, I completed my education while driving a bus. And when I received my master's degree, I'm looking around. I'm like, wait a minute. I could be a superintendent too. I could be a general manager. These guys don't work hard. They drive around these company cars. They make sure everything is running smoothly. I was like, wait a minute, I got a master's degree, so I could easily do this. But it was challenging trying to get promoted in New York because once again, you have 30,000 employees total. You only have a handful of management jobs. Like you're
Mhm.
not going to have 15,000 management positions.
Mhm.
And then once again, such a good job, people are going to stay 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. They're not going to retire. So here I am, relatively young, 23, 24. I'm saying to myself, well, do I stay 40 years just to have a chance to be
Mhm.
a superintendent? Or
Mhm.
do I take the show on the road and go take this bus and go somewhere else and start getting my management experience? And I decided in 2008 to jump on a bus, take the show on the road, and let me drive to another city and move up the ranks that way. And that's when I
Okay.
went to Ohio. I spent 2 years at Columbus, Ohio Transit as a training manager. Then the opportunity opened up in Washington, D.C. I
I
decided to
see.
apply, moved to the nation's capital, work at the metro system there for 4 years. And then I said, you know what? I need to be CEO now. Yep. I'm looking around the industry, people younger than me taking CEO jobs in small cities, small
Mhm.
systems throughout the nation. I said, you know what? If they could do it, I could do it. And then I started applying for jobs. I must have literally applied for about maybe 50 jobs, 50, 60 jobs just around the country. Had good interviews, bad interviews, top two, top three, but never that top one. And then this position became open in January of 2013. I said, St. Cloud, Minnesota. I mean, I know about Minnesota, but didn't know about St. Cloud.
Mhm.
Doing the research, I said, let me throw my name in the hat. I applied for this job the day before this position closed. That's
Wow.
how long I sat on it. And myself and about 87 people applied for the job. And here I am 10 years later, still at the helm, leading a group of dedicated professionals as we deliver service here in the St. Cloud community.
That is awesome. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. So,
Thank
what,
you.
I mean, what separates you? You have done some phenomenal things in your short life. I'm wishing you forever, very many, many more years. You have done a lot than most people have done in a lifetime. Give
Yeah.
me, give me, let's share with the or with our listening audience the invitation that you got from the Senate, like the United States Senate. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so April last year, myself and my board chair of Metrobus, who was also the mayor of St. Cloud, Dave Kleiss, him and I, we went to DC to meet with our congressional folks. Every year, we do a DC trip where we advocate and we educate our constituents on the importance of transportation in the state of Minnesota. So when we met with Senator Tina Smith, we were talking about some projects that's taking place in St. Cloud. We talked about Metrobus. We talked about the North Star. We talked about a lot of different things that affect us. And then her legislative director said, "Oh, well, by the way, aren't you the president of the Minnesota Public Transit Association too?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure I am." Say, "Wait a minute. I just reached out to one of your staff members, Ryan. You're the perfect person. You know what? I'm going to invite you to come and testify before my committee." Because last year, Senator Tina Smith chairs the Transportation Committee that also includes House and Urban Development. And she said, "You know what? I would love for you to come and talk about the IIJA funding, which is part of the infrastructure bill that President Joe Biden signed a couple of years back. I want you to talk about that and how we could use those dollars to improve access and equity in the greater Minnesota region. And as
Awesome.
president of the association, I think you'll be the best person to join me on that panel." I said, "You know something? I am not going to say no to that. Tell me
That's
when and where,
great.
I'll be there." So
Yeah.
because of that FaceTime that I had with Senator Tina Smith, that triggered a light bulb. That's why it's so important that we go to DC and we always get FaceTime and we have opportunity to talk to our constituent folks, our congressional folks, about factors that matters to
Yes.
us here in the St. Cloud community, in Minnesota for that matter. It was
Yes.
very important. So I was just fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. And my dual role as CEO of Metrobus and as president of the association, that triggered a light bulb to say, "Hey, I need you to come talk about transportation dollars and what MIPTA could do with the additional funding. How can we increase transportation and create access to people in rural Minnesota, especially how we could get them from point A to point B?"
So, in addition to you getting an award on last week for Most Admired CEO, you also got an award last July and at the beginning of this year.
Mhm.
Last July, I believe, with Comto, and at the beginning of the year for the safety organization. Can you share a little bit about those two recognitions as well?
Yes, also. So, the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, known as COMTO, I was recognized by my peers for the Gerald Anderson Member of the Year Award. This award goes to individuals who go above and beyond the call of duty. I look at COMTO as an avenue where we are here to help each other. People that look like you and I sometimes struggle getting to the top of organizations.
Yes.
Like you just can't walk in, get on the elevator, and go to the penthouse. For us, we have to open the door, take the stairs, and climb one stair at a time to get to the penthouse.
Yes.
So, what does that look like for people like you and I? So, I'm passionate about mentoring other individuals who are in senior executive roles, aspiring to be in the C-suite, even mid-manager roles, and mid-manager people who are looking to get into the senior exec roles. So, I've been doing that for like the last 5 on a committee with Compto called the Emerging Leaders Subcommittee, where I represent Tier 4, which is known as the C-suite. And as a result of that, the good work that I, together with my team that we do, I was nominated and selected for this prestigious award. And that doesn't stop me because I'm still to this day mentoring. I just took on a new member. I just took on a new mentee actually from the Washington, D.C. area. He
Nice.
works at WMATA. And I'm working with him now, just mentoring him because he wants to be a general manager one day.
Nice. Very nice. And then at the beginning of the year with the safety organization?
Right. So the National Safety Council nominated me as a CEO, as one of the 2023 CEO Who Gets It. CEO Who Gets It for safety, that is. I live, breathe, sleep safety. Because in the job that we do, we can't take it for granted. Like when passengers get on our bus, they don't expect that our bus is going to crash. Just
Mm-hmm.
like when passengers get on the airplane, they don't expect the airplane is going to crash. What are we going to do to ensure that everything that we are possibly doing, we're doing it safe, safe, safe. We have to be safe. And that's what I instill in all my employees here in the organization. We take safety seriously here. We have a safety department. We recently hired a chief safety officer who's
Nice.
tasked with reducing accidents in the workplace, increasing on-time performance, and minimizing those roll calls,
Mhm.
because people expect reliable, safe service.
Yes, I would concur. And so, again, you've had a plethora of recognitions in the last 18 months. This is Winning Workplace Wednesdays. What are some advice that you can give to that young and upcoming person of color? As you said, individuals that look like you and myself, we have to take the stairs. It's not always someone may bless us to take the elevator to break through that glass ceiling and get to the top. What's some best practices and recommendations that you will give to that young whippersnapper that's listening today?
To all my fellow Thundercats out there, like you say,
Yeah.
whippersnapper, I call them young Thundercats.
Okay.
The sky is the limit,
Hmm.
and don't let no one tell you that you cannot do it.
Yes.
Don't let no one tell you that you cannot do it, because anything is possible
Hmm.
as long as you put your mind to it. Whether
Hmm.
that's C-suite position you're aspiring to be, senior management position, you want to open up your own business, there are going to be challenges that come along the way. But knowing that you are not able to just open the door, take the elevator, and go straight to the top, you have to climb those stairs with dignity, with pride, and integrity. And
Yes.
just know that the sky is the limit as long as you put your mind to it. Nothing is impossible.
I like that. I like that. Can you share an obstacle? You don't have to go into any details of just how you faced, over your career. Like,
I mean, I've been in many organizations or places where people told me that I would never be a CEO,
mm,
or you would never sit in my seat. As long as I'm here, you will never sit in my seat. Oh, I can't hire you because I can't trust you. You're going to take my job one day. And when I heard that, I was dumbfounded. I was shocked that you would even say those words.
mhm,
But I did not let that discourage me.
yes,
I said, you know something? I don't want your seat. I want the C-suite.
yes,
I don't want you. You can have your seat, but I'm
mhm,
still going to respect you. I'm still going to come to work. I'm still going to do my job. I'm going to get myself a mentor,
mhm,
and I'm going to latch on to that mentor because he's going to give me the guidance that I need to get to the C-suite.
mhm.
And here I am today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely understand all too well, all too well.
Yeah.
I've
I
been,
have my mentor to this day. His name is Mr. Carter,
yes.
and we talk literally at least once every 2 weeks. I mean, he retired from transit after almost doing 50 years,
Mhm.
and he still sharp as a pencil. And we could talk for hours about transit stuff. Okay, he
Wow.
loves it. That's his passion, and that's I feed off of that passion, and I think he feeds off of my passion. So we feed off of each other. So when I run into challenges, I give him a call. He'll tell me what he would do, what he would think, and I just love it. You have to have a mentor in
Yes,
any
yes.
industry that you are aspiring to be in,
Mhm.
or any dream that you have. You have to have a mentor so you can learn about best practices,
Right.
learn about those obstacles and challenges, and learn how you could turn those weaknesses into strengths.
Yes, that's really good sound counsel. So, how did you celebrate? What did your mom say? What did your dad say? What did your family say about your recognition of being one of the most admired CEOs in your city?
They are so proud of me. I mean, they flew all the way from New York City just to celebrate with me that night last week Wednesday. They are proud of me. They're excited, and they want me to keep striving, keep pushing.
Yes, yes,
Don't
yes.
get comfortable in the
Never,
seat.
never, ever, ever. Man, that is so cool. 10 years.
And
So,
yes.
what does the next 3 to 5 years look like for you?
Well, the next 3 to 5 years for me, oh, that's a trick question. That's the $1 million question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
What are you
try my
hoping
best.
for?
I'm hoping for that the community that I'm living in, the community that I call home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that we could have a world-class transit facility
Mm-hmm.
where people could leave their cars at home and utilize our services to get to wherever their travel plans take them. I want to be the mode of choice. I want people to think of Metrobus as their mode of choice for wherever they want to go in the St. Cloud community. Personally, I am going to do all that I can for the community, mentor up and coming leaders. I call them emerging leaders because they're emerging. I'm getting old now, so I have to look at the young whippersnappers, as you say. But I'm going to continue to mentor them. I'm part of a leadership program known as the Jugal Leadership Program, which you were a keynote speaker just last week, Friday,
Mm-hmm.
at our graduation. And thank you for that.
Of
Now,
course.
that wonderful 7 carats.
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to continue to be a part of that program and continue to mentor and look for opportunities that where I see myself as a fit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't really have no big plans on looking to leave, but you
Mm-hmm.
never know an opportunity may come your way to
That's
potentially
right.
serve on a corporate board or to lend a hand to another organization or to do
Mhm.
some type of work. But I definitely want to give back to the community.
Yes, yes.
And once I give back to the community, I know my job is done.
Exactly. I had a question that just came through the back of my head. I
Mhm.
believe it was this year in 2023 that you were part of the team that were invited to host our Vice President Kamala Harris.
Oh, yes, yes, back in February. Yes.
Yes. Tell us
Yeah. So
more
the
about that. Not everybody gets the opportunity.
our mayor, St. Cloud Mayor Dave Kleiss, received a phone call from the White House indicating the Vice President Harris' intent to visit the St. Cloud area, and she wanted to visit New Flyer production facility. New Flyer, for those who are not familiar with New Flyer, is a bus manufacturing plant. So those people who live in cities that have transit systems, 95% of the chance, if you board a bus, it was built here in St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Wow.
And she wanted to come. Yeah, it's a big thing. They build buses for New York City, Chicago, Boston, California, Seattle, all over the world, and even Canada. They build buses, 35-foot buses, 40 and even 60-foot buses, electric buses too as well. And the vice president wanted to come to New Flyer to talk about the importance of creating good union paying jobs. So New Flyer to build electric buses, we have this IIJA funding, we have all this additional funding. And as a result of these additional dollars, we're able to create good union paying jobs, such as the jobs that people hold at New Flyer, building electric buses where we're taking steps to protect the environment, one bus at a time. So she came to St. Cloud. I was able to take a picture with her, shake her hand. I mean, that was such a wonderful moment just to be in the same room with the vice president, listen to her speech, listen to the passion that she has for public transportation, the passion that she has for transportation in general,
Mhm.
and just being next to her was such a wonderful experience. I won't trade it in for the world. I was so honored to be part of that elite group of professionals to share space with the Vice President Kamala Harris. Thank
Wow.
you, Mayor Kleiss, for that opportunity.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, if you could speak to your younger self, your 18-year-old self, your 21-year-old self, I would even say your 25-year-old self. We have parents that may be listening that they may want to share this video with their young son. Because the truth of the matter is, I want Winning Workplace Wednesdays to be provocative, to
Mhm.
have conversations that other people may not necessarily want to have. And the truth of the matter is, Ryan, you got awarded as the CEO with the Minneapolis St. Paul Business Journal. But I believe that was the same city where Mr. George Floyd had his murder. Is it the same city, right?
That's correct. Minneapolis. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I say all of that to say your experience of climbing the ranks, you're coming from a household with your parents have been married for over 40 years. You have been through private schools. You finished in middle school and high school, went on to college, did your master's work. You still worked. You worked your way. You took the stairs one stair at a time to get to the top. You were that Thundercat that pushed all the way through. You were told, I'm not hiring you, like you're gonna take my job, by individuals that were threatened by you. What would you tell that parent or that Facebook person that's watching this live recording, this live video? What would you tell them? I know that you tell them not to let anyone deter you, keep pushing, but what would be maybe a mistake or a mishap or something that maybe you're like, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. Maybe I would have been CEO at 37 instead of, but just what would be some counsel or wisdom that you would tell to your younger self that others can glean from?
I would say when it comes to the workplace, always follow the chain of command. That's one thing that I didn't do at one of my previous employers. Follow the chain of command, and it wasn't by no ill intent. Ill intent. It was just randomly. I was on the train with the CEO of the organization that I work for, and we happened to be sitting in the same car. He was coming from a different state. I was coming from a different state. We were on the train going back to our respectful city, and we were like 2 cars apart from each other. And we just had a conversation. I mean, we ended up, the train ride was 3 hours. We ended up talking for 2 out of the 3 hours. And when I got back to the organization, I was so excited to be in the train with the CEO. I'm like, oh my gosh, how exciting is that? And the conversation that we had, I told my immediate supervisor, and he was like, yeah, okay, that is great. What you should do is send the email straight to the CEO. Say, thank you for allowing me to do A, B, C, and D. And I didn't copy his direct report, meaning the CEO's direct report. It went straight to him. So the CEO took my email and forwarded it back down the chain, and everybody was upset. Everybody. I think that just burned so many bridges. This honest train ride just got twisted and discombobulated. It was horrible. It was horrible. And I think because of that, that prevented me from, that just made it even more worse for me, even trying to move up even one level. You see, so what I would say in the workplace, you follow chain of command as much as you possibly can, because you never know when you're going to need that favor from someone, especially that person who's above.
Wow. That's deep, Ryan. That's deep. I would agree in following the chain of command. Absolutely. There's no ifs, ands, or buts or different conversation from me. Just want to make sure that, I think it was a good thing for your boss to tell you to say thank you.
Right. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
But, and things happen, things get missed, because I'm sure based on the level that you were at, you probably wasn't familiar with that other person that you didn't include on there. So I'm glad that you stayed encouraged. I'm glad that you continue to press forward. I'm glad that you are here to give that advice and it didn't mess up your future. You're still doing excellent. So thank you for that feedback. I want to ask, what will be your final words to our listening audience? Where can they find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they keep up with you? You have made America, not only your parents proud, but many individuals under 45 see you. I don't even know how old you were, probably in your 30s, because you've been there for 10 years. That's amazing.
Early 30s. Yeah.
What are your parting words in the workplace? How do you want to win as a CEO to encourage your staff? Maybe there's an executive listening, How can
Well,
they
I would
create
say
winning
two
work?
words.
Mm-hmm.
I would say keep shining. That's what I
Wow.
would say. Keep shining.
Yes, for everyone, for the executive team to make sure that they are leading by example, for that high school, college student that's listening, continue to study, continue to push forward, for that intern or, entry level frontliner that's applying, like don't stop.
Right.
Continue to let your character speak for itself. That
Self,
is where it's
exactly.
at, right?
And you can
Shine on.
find me on link. Yep, and you can find me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I have a perfect profile, so follow me, message me, connect with me, and let's keep this bus going down the street, y'all.
I love it, love it, love it. Audience, you have heard it right here. Winning Workplace Wednesdays. We have one of Minneapolis, St. Paul, most admired CEOs in the house, Mr. Ryan Daniel. Thank you so much for taking my invitation to bring you here for an interview. Until next time, keep shining.
Thank you so
Toodles.
much. Take care.
Anytime.